folk who sit watching and waiting and critiquing and evaluating and instigating and prognosticating and pontificating, and they can't help anybody. Just sitting there in the way. But thank God for these brothers. They were not discouraged by their mean looks. They said, well, we can't seem to get in the house. And this is why, my beloved, you need a diverse church. Martin Luther King Jr. used to say that 11 o'clock on Sunday morning is the most segregated hour in America. That is true not only in terms of race, that's true in terms of class. I want a diverse church. I want an increasingly diverse church. Because there are some things you can't see as long as you're in the mainstream. There are some things you can only see when you're standing on the margins, and so we need a diverse church, and this brother knows the power of this. Why? Because his friends brought him to Jesus. They got to the house, but they could not get in the house. I don't mean to offend anybody, but can I tell you that had his friends been like most of us, many of us in this room, had their friends been college and university educated, bourgeois, petty upwardly mobile, members of the Lynx and the Alphas and the Deltas and the Omegas, all those other Greek letters, had they been a member of the Boule or Jack and Jill, they would have arrived, saw that the door was closed, and like polite, well-mannered people would have turned around and gone back home. But thank God he met some brothers at the corner of Boulevard and Irwin. They had been converted, but prior to their conversion, they grew up in the hood. And they were practitioners of a certain underground craft. How shall I put it? They were engineers of unsolicited domestic intrusion. And in that art, they were well-skilled and sophisticated. They had seen blocked doors and locked doors and alarm systems before. When they could not get through the door, they just climbed up the fire escape, took some rope and an old piece of a mattress that somebody found on a garbage heap, put their brother on it, and each one of them found his way to a corner. One man stood on this corner, the other man stood on that corner, all four of them took their brother to the house. When they could not get to the house, climbed up the fire escape, broke in through the roof, lowered the man right at the feet of Jesus. And interesting thing about this text is we don't know what Jesus was talking about until he showed up. It suggests that in the mind of the gospel writer, whatever Jesus was talking about before this brother showed up wasn't as important. But when this brother showed up, whatever Jesus had been talking about, the brother who was on the outside and was invisible suddenly became the center of the conversation. And I'm here to tell you that that's what people of faith must do. We must learn how to take those who are marginalized, those who are poor, those who are locked out and dropped out and blocked out, and make them the center of the conversation, not only for their sake, but for our sake. And so they lifted their brother up in order to let him down so that Jesus might lift him up again. They lifted their brother up in order to let him down so that Jesus might lift him up again. Sounds like my testimony. They lifted their brother up, let him down so that Jesus might lift him up. Anybody here ever had somebody to lift you up, let you down so that Jesus might lift you up again? Anybody here ever been in a tight spot? Anybody here ever been paralyzed? Anybody here ever been stuck, but somebody lifted you up and let you down so that Jesus might lift you up again?